The stars had always been silent watchers of humanity, yet tonight the sky flared with a brilliance no human had ever imagined. Cities across the world were bathed in an unearthly green light as the massive forms of alien ships descended, their immense hulls reflecting the sun and the moon in a spectral dance. There was no sound, no message, just presence. And the presence carried an undeniable weight. A warning that humanity had never faced. Dr. Leora Hayes stood atop the observatory in New Geneva, her telescope abandoned as her wide eyes tracked the largest of the ships hovering above the Atlantic Ocean. She could feel the collective pulse of the world below, a mixture of awe, terror, and disbelief. Humanity had always imagined what it would mean to meet aliens, but no imagination could have prepared them for this. The aliens did not land, at least not in a way humans could comprehend. Instead, the massive ship projected shimmering holographic forms of beings that were both terrifying and fragile in appearance. They had elongated limbs, shimmering translucent skin, and eyes that glowed like twin suns. Yet the most unexpected feature was their expression. It was fear. On screens across every network, the message appeared simultaneously in countless languages. "We are at your mercy. We have failed, please. Listen." The words rippled through the world. In crowded homes, in quiet rooms, in the streets thrumming with panic, humans stopped. Governments scrambled, armies mobilized. But Leora noticed something remarkable. People were listening not with fear alone, but with curiosity and empathy. On the bridge of the United Earth Fleet, Admiral Elias Crane leaned forward, his hands gripping the console. "They're asking for help," he muttered, his voice barely audible over the hum of machinery. "They're begging us?" His aide, Lieutenant Marasolis, shook her head. "Admiral, are you sure? Could this be a trap?" Elias's jaw tightened. "Everything about them screams danger, yet the truth is in their eyes. Fear, desperation. This is not conquest. They are running from something far worse than us, and now they want us to save them." Across the Atlantic, near the coast of Ireland, a young boy named Finn O'Donnell watched the spectacle unfold, his small hands pressed to the glass of his bedroom window, his imagination torn between excitement and dread. "Mom," he whispered, "are they going to hurt us?" His mother, a nurse named Clara, wrapped an arm around him. "No, Finn, I think they need us. And maybe we can help." For hours, the alien ship hovered, silently projecting their plea. Scientists, philosophers, leaders, and ordinary people debated what it meant to respond. Some demanded immediate defense measures. Others urged caution. Yet deep down there was an instinctive pull toward something greater, a chance to show humanity at its best. Dr. Hayes was soon contacted by the Global Scientific Council. She had spent her career studying exoplanets, alien life, and theoretical context scenarios. Now she was called to lead a team to respond not with weapons, but with words, empathy, and understanding. As she prepared to board the fastest craft Earth could offer, she glanced at the holographic image of the alien leader. Its voice, filtered into perfect English, carried a subtle tremor. "Please, we failed our world. We beg you, save our people. Only you can stop what we cannot." The simplicity of the plea, the vulnerability, struck Leora in a way nothing else ever had. For the first time, she realized that humanity was not just on the edge of contact, but on the edge of proving its greatest strength: compassion, courage, and unity in the face of the unknown. She stepped onto the shuttle, her mind racing, heart pounding. Beyond the window, the massive alien ship waited, and behind that, an unknown danger threatened an entire species. Humanity's first test had arrived, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as potential saviors. And somewhere deep in the cosmos, aliens prayed for humans to be the heroes they themselves could no longer be. The shuttle trembled as it pierced the thin atmosphere surrounding the alien ship. Dr. Leora Hayes sat in the pilot's seat, her hands steady but her mind racing. Beside her, Commander Elias Crane observed the enormous hull looming closer with a mixture of awe and caution. Outside the window, the surface of the alien vessel shimmered like liquid crystal, constantly shifting colors that made the human eye ache to focus. Inside the ship, there was silence. Not the mechanical silence of empty corridors or engines, but a living silence, one that seemed to hum with tension. When the shuttle docked, the airlock opened, revealing the alien interior. It was unlike anything humans had seen. Flowing walls of light, floors that seemed to breathe, corridors that curved as though geometry itself had been rewritten. And then, they saw them. The aliens moved with a grace that seemed impossible for their size, gliding rather than walking. They had no visible mouths, yet they communicated in thoughts that reached Leora's mind like a gentle whisper. The leader, who called itself Caliph, stepped forward. Its translucent skin glimmered with a faint blue glow, and its eyes, immense and golden, bore into Leora as though reading her very thoughts. "We are called the Elithar. Our world is dying," Caliph said, voice resonating in her mind. "A darkness spreads, consuming life, destroying everything we built. We fled, but it follows us, and now you are our only hope." Elias spoke aloud, his voice steady despite the tremor in his chest. "Explain. What is this darkness?" Caliph's glow dimmed. "A disease, but not biological. It is intelligence itself, a virus that corrupts consciousness, drives beings to destroy their own worlds. It spread through our people, our leaders, our scientists. Even the children were consumed. We tried to stop it. We failed." Leora's heart clenched. She had studied countless theories about alien civilizations and interstellar threats, but nothing in her textbooks prepared her for the raw despair in those words. Humans often spoke of heroism in the abstract, but this was living proof that courage mattered. The Elithar guided them deeper into the ship, showing areas where entire populations had been quarantined, sleeping in stasis fields that hummed with faint life. "They wait," Caliph said, "for a cure, for hope. Only humans can give them that." Elias frowned. "Why humans? Why us?" The alien's eyes softened as if pity and admiration were entwined. "Because you endure. You suffer. You fight, and yet, you still believe in one another. You hold empathy and compassion as weapons stronger than any technology. That is why we chose to reach you, and why we pray you answer." The crew was silent. Each human felt the weight of the responsibility. This was no longer a mission of observation, it was a moral crucible. To fail might mean the extinction of a sentient species. And yet, to act without caution could unleash dangers they did not fully comprehend. Leora approached a console projecting a holographic map of the Elithar homeworld. The planet was a beautiful sphere of greens and blues, but vast regions were blackened, lifeless, consumed by an unnatural shadow that pulsed and spread like a living stain. "This is what we fled," Caliph whispered. "This is what you must stop." Finn, the boy who had watched from Earth, appeared on a secured communication link. He had begged to speak. "Dr. Hayes, humans help each other, right? Even when it's scary?" Leora smiled softly, her heart warming despite the stakes. "Yes, Finn, that's what makes us human, and that's exactly what we'll do." Caliph's form shimmered with a faint relief. "We do not know if it can be stopped, but perhaps with your guidance it will not reach other worlds. Perhaps your courage can save more than just us." The humans spent hours learning what they could. The Elithar had developed advanced technologies, but the darkness defied logic and conventional science. It was both living and thinking, a force that adapted faster than any machine. And yet, the Elithar had hope, because they had chosen to reach out to humans, a species known for fighting impossible odds. As the humans prepared for the first mission to the Elithar homeworld, Leora's thoughts drifted to the people of Earth. Humanity's greatest strength had always been its unity in moments of crisis. Here, far from home, they were about to test that strength on a cosmic scale. The Elithar watched them, silent yet expectant, and somewhere deep in her heart, Leora felt a spark that whispered, humans would rise as they always did, even in the face of darkness that seemed insurmountable. And for the first time, she realized the full truth of Caliph's words. Humans were not merely participants in this battle. They were the last hope for a species that had reached the end of its own courage. Outside the massive windows of the Elithar vessel, the shadow over their homeworld pulsed like a heartbeat of destruction, and the humans, small, fragile, yet unbroken, prepared to step into the darkness. The shuttle quivered as it entered the orbit of the Elithar homeworld. From above, the planet seemed alive. Swirling green forests, blue oceans, and vast cities. But vast patches of black, jagged shadows marred the landscape like wounds on a once beautiful face. Humanity's first mission to this world was not one of conquest or diplomacy. It was a rescue mission, an attempt to stem the encroaching darkness and save a civilization that had reached out in desperation. Commander Elias Crane stood at the helm, his fingers steady but his jaw tight. "Keep formation tight. Sensors are picking up anomalies. They move faster than any natural phenomenon." Dr. Leora Hayes, seated beside him, studied the holographic maps projected in the shuttle's cabin. "It's not just a virus," she said quietly. "It's intelligence. It adapts, learns, and it hates life." The Elithar had guided them to a region still untouched by the darkness. Their stasis fields held thousands of their people, suspended in fragile safety. Calith's holographic form hovered in Leora's mind, conveying urgency. "If the darkness reaches them, all will be lost. We have no time. You must act now." The shuttle descended through the upper atmosphere, clouds of green lightning swirling around them. Outside the viewport, the blackened shadows pulsed and writhed like living ink spreading across the land. Elias's grip on the controls tightened. "Brace for turbulence," he warned. Finn appeared briefly on the secure communication link, his small face illuminated with concern. "Dr. Hayes, please, bring them home." His voice, innocent and unwavering, carried a weight greater than any threat in the universe. Leora closed her eyes for a moment, drawing strength from that human connection. She whispered under her breath, "We will." The shuttle pierced through the storm, entering a valley where Elithar stasis pods glimmered faintly. Sensors detected the darkness spreading in jagged veins, consuming the land at a terrifying speed. Leora turned to Elias. "We need to act fast. We can't just hover. If the darkness spreads, we lose the entire population." Elias nodded. "Prepare the extraction units. Move efficiently and keep your wits. Humanity survives through courage, not panic." The shuttle landed and humans poured onto the alien soil. Their boots sank slightly into the alien terrain, alive with faint bioluminescence. The Elithar followed silently, their forms radiant against the blackened shadows. Calith's voice resonated in Leora's mind. "Trust yourselves. Trust what you are. Humans, your essence can turn fear into hope." They reached the stasis field. Leora examined the controls, realizing the Elithar technology was advanced but unfamiliar. The darkness crept closer, tendrils of shadow climbing the edges of the valley. One of the human engineers, Mateo, hesitated. "Dr. Hayes, if we touch the wrong sequence, we could destroy them instead of freeing them." Leora placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Mateo, humanity thrives in impossible situations. Remember that. Focus, trust, and act." With careful precision, they activated the field. Light surged as the pods hummed to life, releasing the Elithar, who blinked and flexed limbs stiff from long suspension. For a moment, relief and awe mingled in the valley. Humanity had succeeded. Then the darkness struck. It surged like a living wave, black tendrils lashing out at the newly freed Elithar. The humans instinctively formed a protective line, shields up, instincts guiding them. Elias shouted, "Do not falter. Protect them." Leora's mind raced. She saw a pattern in the darkness, subtle but discernible. "It reacts to fear and hesitation," she yelled. "Confidence, courage, show it." The humans and Elithar moved as one, coordinated in instinctive defense. Where hesitation faltered, the darkness gained ground. Where humans acted decisively, it recoiled. Finn's words echoed in Leora's mind. Humans help each other, even when it's scary. It was that essence, the unwavering unity, the courage born of empathy, that made the difference. Slowly, the darkness retreated from the stasis field. The Elithar looked upon the humans with awe, realizing the truth of what Calith had said. Humans fought not with weapons alone, but with a force the universe rarely witnessed. Compassion turned into action. After the battle, as the humans tended to exhausted Elithar, Leora looked at Elias. "This is only the beginning. The darkness won't stop, but humanity, Humanity can teach it fear. Elias nodded, his eyes reflecting both exhaustion and pride. And maybe, just maybe, we can save more than one world. Above the valley, the black shadow paused at the edge of the human line, as if considering this strange species that dared to defy fear with courage. Humanity had taken its first stand, not as conquerors, not as bystanders, but as saviors, proving why the universe might one day learn to hope in humans. And deep in the Elithar mind, Calith whispered, the legends were true, humans. They are something more than any of us imagined. The valley lay quiet after the first battle, but the silence was tense, a fragile pause in the storm that threatened the Elithar homeworld. Humans and aliens moved carefully among the liberated stasis pods, tending to the disoriented Elithar, stabilizing their fragile bodies, and mapping the spread of the darkness that pulsed ominously along the horizon. Dr. Leora Hayes crouched beside a recovering Elithar child, delicate and luminescent. You're safe now, she whispered, brushing a faint glow from the child's arm. The alien blinked at her, communicating not in words but in emotion. Gratitude, fear and relief intertwined like a single, shimmering thread. Commander Elias Crane stood atop a ridge overlooking the valley, scanning the horizon. His eyes narrowed as shadows shifted unnaturally. It's learning faster than we thought. It's adapting. Anticipating. Mateo, the engineer who had braved the stasis field, approached with urgency. We've stabilized the Elithar for now, but every second counts. The darkness isn't just external, it infiltrates minds. We saw it in the sensors, hallucinations, fear, aggression. Even in those who seemed safe, Leora's heart tightened. The darkness wasn't a simple enemy. It was a corruptor, feeding on weakness, despair, and hesitation. Humans had managed to defend their charge, but the cost of a single lapse could be catastrophic. Calith's presence, always near Leora's mind, pulsed with worry. You must understand, the alien whispered. This is not a battlefield you can win by strength alone. It targets hope, trust, the bond between beings. That is why we fled, and why you are the last hope. Elias exhaled sharply. So it's not enough to fight physically. We have to show it what it cannot understand. Unity, Leora said softly. Compassion, empathy. That's our weapon. Night fell across the valley, alien stars stretching across a dark sky. The darkness, like a living tide, crept silently, creeping closer to the human's perimeter. Shadows coiled along the terrain, moving with subtle intelligence, probing for weaknesses. Leora gathered the team around a holographic projection. We need a plan that isn't just defense, she explained. We need to take the fight to it, not with force, but with coordination, courage, and most importantly, hope. It feeds on fear. We deny it that. Elias studied the map, his mind sharp despite exhaustion. We split into 3 units. One protects the Elithar, one fortifies the perimeter, and one goes to the source of the spread to try and contain it. Calith's light shimmered with concern. The source is dangerous. Many of us have perished merely by approaching it. Leora squared her shoulders. We've come this far. Fear won't stop us now. Humanity doesn't run from the impossible. As the units moved into position, Leora and Elias led the team toward the source. The landscape twisted unnaturally, blackened terrain pulsing with a life that seemed to mirror their own thoughts. Shadows whispered, trying to penetrate their minds, tugging at doubt and fear. Leora felt the pull, a creeping terror that whispered failure, loss, despair. She focused on Finn's words echoing in her memory. Humans help each other even when it's scary. She gripped Elias's arm. Hold on to each other, she murmured, and they advanced together. The closer they got, the more the darkness resisted, tendrils flailing, coiling around rock and soil, trying to slow them, to frighten them. Yet for every advance, every step taken with courage, the shadows shrank back, as though recoiling from something they could not understand. The steadfast will of humans united by purpose. They reached the edge of a vast chasm where the darkness seemed to originate. An abyss of writhing black energy. Calith's voice resonated in their minds. This is the heart. You may not survive contact. Elias looked at Leora, determination in his eyes. Then we make it count. We survive because we must, not for ourselves, but for those who cannot. The humans and Elithar stood together on the precipice, their courage forming an invisible shield. The darkness pulsed violently, lashing outward. For a moment all seemed lost, but the humans held firm, linking hands, projecting an aura of unity and hope that no alien virus could comprehend. And then, slowly, the shadows recoiled. Their tendrils writhed but could not penetrate the wall of will and empathy. Leora felt a surge of triumph and fear, for this was only the beginning. The darkness could adapt, but humanity had something it could never anticipate. The courage born of unity, the strength drawn from hope, the resilience of spirit that refused to yield. Calith's voice, soft and awed, whispered, "I see now. Humans are something we could never imagine. Not merely survivors, not merely fighters, but saviors." Kaib. As dawn broke across the alien sky, black clouds still lingered on the horizon, but the first victory had been claimed. Humanity had faced the shadow and shown it the impossible, that hope, courage, and empathy were forces no darkness could fully destroy. And deep within, Leora understood something profound. They had begun a journey that would test every ounce of human spirit, and yet humanity would rise, as it always had, even when the universe itself seemed determined to fall. The Elithar world had shifted from devastation to fragile hope. Yet hope alone was not enough. The darkness still spread, a living corruption that consumed everything it touched, adapting to every tactic, every weapon, every defensive measure. Humanity had proven it could stand against it. But victory would demand more than courage. It would demand ingenuity, unity, and the willingness to sacrifice everything. Dr. Leora Hayes stood before a glowing projection of the Elithar homeworld, its surface a patchwork of black and green. The darkness pulsed from a central point, a massive crater in the planet's northern hemisphere, an epicenter of corruption that radiated tendrils across continents. "This is where we strike," she said, pointing. "Everything begins there. If we can contain or neutralize it, the rest of the planet, and maybe the Elithar species, can be saved." Commander Elias Crane leaned against the table, arms crossed. "The humans on Earth are watching. Every choice we make will echo across worlds. Failure is not an option, but neither is recklessness. We need a plan that works, and fast." Mateo the engineer frowned at the hologram. "The Elithar technology is beyond anything we've ever seen. But maybe we can combine it with human innovation. Create something the darkness hasn't anticipated." Calith's form shimmered beside them. "We will guide you. But we cannot touch the heart. Only your species can face it directly, and with it change the course of our world." Leora nodded. Humanity's greatest strength had never been sheer power. It was adaptability, creativity, and the courage to act when others would hesitate. They would need all of it now. The team worked tirelessly. Elithar engineers fused their energy-manipulating technology with human tactical insight. Shimmering fields of containment were designed to suppress the darkness temporarily, while human neural amplifiers would project coordinated thought patterns, hope, courage, and unity directly into the corrupted areas. It was an unprecedented experiment, mind and spirit as weapons. Night fell again, the black pulse creeping closer, sensing the humans' preparations. Leora could feel the fear trying to worm its way into her mind, but she anchored herself in what made humans extraordinary: connection. She thought of Finn on Earth, of Clara holding him, and she whispered silently, "We will not fail. We cannot fail." The strike team approached the crater, moving through twisted terrain where the shadows recoiled with anticipation. Every step was a battle of wills, the darkness probing, whispering, attempting to provoke doubt, panic, and despair. Elias called out, steady and calm, "Keep moving. Trust each other. Humanity doesn't break. It adapts, it survives. That is what makes us unstoppable." At the crater's edge, the team paused. The darkness writhed, rising like a storm of living ink, tendrils lashing outward. Calith's voice trembled with awe and fear. "You cannot fight it with force. Only with the essence that made your species legendary." Leora activated the neural amplifiers. Light spread across the crater, intertwining with the shadows. Each human projected their courage, their empathy, their willingness to protect life against impossible odds. The Elithar, guided by Calith, joined in, amplifying the human signal with their own radiant energy. For a moment, nothing happened. The darkness surged, twisting violently as though it were a living being struggling against a force it could not comprehend. And then slowly it began to shrink. Tendrils recoiled, shadows dissipated, and the pulse weakened. Leora's mind ached with the intensity of the connection. Every thought, every emotion magnified 1,000-fold. She felt despair, hope, fear, and courage mingling in an overwhelming storm. Yet through it all, humanity's essence remained steady, a beacon of resilience, unwavering and bright. Matteo shouted in triumph as the last tendrils of darkness dissolved. Elias exhaled, lowering his shield, a smile breaking through his exhaustion. Calith's voice resonated like a song of relief. You are more than we imagined. Humans, the legends were true. You have faced what we could not, and you have prevailed. The Elithar gathered around the strike team, expressions glowing with gratitude and wonder. Leora met Calith's eyes. This is only the beginning, the alien whispered. But now, our people can rebuild, because you chose to believe in us, and in yourselves. Leora turned to Elias, watching the first rays of alien dawn touch the valley. Humans, we did what no one else could. Not because we are perfect. Not because we are stronger than the darkness, but because we never give up on life, hope, or each other. Elias nodded, pride shining in his eyes. That's humanity. We endure, we adapt, we rise. Always. Above them, the blackened horizon had faded, replaced by the glow of a recovering world. The darkness had not been destroyed completely. It never could be. But humanity had proven something extraordinary, that courage, unity, and empathy could stand against even the most incomprehensible threats. And far across the galaxy, whispers of humanity's triumph spread among those who had long given up hope. For the first time, other civilizations realized a truth they had forgotten. Humans were not just survivors. They were beacons of something greater. The Elithar world breathed again. Rivers glimmered with renewed light. Forests stretched in fragile green patches, and the cities, though scarred, pulsed with renewed energy. Humanity had struck at the heart of the darkness, showing the universe a force it could not comprehend. Courage, unity, and hope distilled into action. Dr. Leora Hayes stood on a ridge overlooking one of the capital cities. Elithar engineers worked alongside human technicians, rebuilding stasis fields, repairing energy conduits, and restoring vital systems. Though exhausted, Leora felt a swelling pride. This was what humanity could achieve when it chose to rise, to act not for glory but for life itself. Calith approached, its translucent skin reflecting the first rays of alien dawn. We owe you more than words can convey. You did not just defeat the darkness, you gave our people a future, a chance to endure. Leora shook her head, brushing away exhaustion. No, Calith. You endured before we arrived. Humanity merely reminded you what you already had, hope. And together, we proved it stronger than fear. Elias Crane joined her, eyes scanning the horizon where shadow patches still lingered. Subdued, but not gone. We've won a battle, he said quietly. But the universe doesn't stop being dangerous just because we saved one world. There will always be more darkness, and more choices to make. Matteo, checking the energy grid, smiled wryly. I never thought I'd be fixing alien tech with a species from another world. But somehow, it feels like the most human thing we've ever done. Humanity had become more than allies. They had become teachers, protectors, and symbols of resilience. And yet the victory was tempered by loss. Not all Elithar had survived the darkness, and the humans carried their own scars, both physical and emotional, from battles that tested the limits of courage and spirit. Leora felt the weight of responsibility. They had done what no one else could. They had faced an impossible threat and emerged not only alive but victorious. And yet she knew the universe would test them again. Humans had survived before by facing uncertainty with ingenuity and unity. This was simply another chapter. A soft chime signaled communication from Earth. Finn's face appeared, bright and eager, though worry still lingered in his eyes. "Dr. Hayes, did you do it? Did you save them?" Leora smiled, her voice steady but warm. "Yes, Finn, we did. And they will thrive because humans did not give up." Finn grinned. "I knew you would. Humans never give up. That's why. You're amazing." Even Caliph seemed moved by the simplicity of that human truth. "Your species inspires hope beyond the cosmos. You have shown us what it means to endure, even when all seems lost." Night fell on the recovering Alethar cities. Humans and aliens alike paused to witness the stars above, a familiar constancy that reminded them both of fragility and eternity. Leora reflected on everything they had endured, the fear, the shadows, the weight of responsibility. Humanity had not only faced the darkness, they had taught an entire species what it meant to rise above it. Elias put a hand on her shoulder. "Tomorrow we continue, not just rebuilding but preparing, for threats we haven't even imagined yet. Humanity doesn't wait for miracles. We make them happen." The Alethar watched, learning from every choice humans made, their courage under fire, their patience, their empathy, and their fierce determination to protect life at all costs. Humanity was not perfect, but it was remarkable in ways the universe rarely expected. Calith's voice was a whisper in the minds of the humans. "We will never forget this. Not just what you have done, but who you are, humans. Your spirit has changed the course of history. Perhaps the universe itself will remember." As the Alethar rebuilt, humans began preparations for their return home. Yet every heart carried a memory of sacrifice, a spark of pride, and a quiet recognition that Earth was not merely their home, it was the origin of something extraordinary. For in the darkest corners of the universe, when fear and despair threatened to consume all, humanity had proven one immutable truth, that courage, unity, and hope could shine brighter than any darkness, and that truth, etched into the hearts of those they saved, would endure for generations. Leora gazed at the stars, feeling both the weight and the beauty of their mission. "We've done something incredible," she murmured. "Not because we had to, but because it was who we are. Humans never stop believing, never stop fighting, and never stop helping." Elias nodded, looking to the horizon where dawn touched the recovering world. "And that is why the universe will always need humans." Above, the stars watched silently, bearing witness to the indomitable spirit of a species that had refused to bow to fear, that had faced the unknown and had risen, not as conquerors, but as saviors. The Alethar world shimmered under the light of twin suns, its surface healing, its people standing tall once more. Humanity had not only faced the darkness, they had transformed it, proving that courage, empathy, and unity were forces greater than fear itself. Dr. Leora Hayes stood atop a rebuilt Alethar tower, looking across a valley where humans and aliens worked side by side. Children played among restored structures, elders whispered stories of survival, and everywhere a sense of hope glowed brighter than any star. Caliph approached, radiance soft but steady. "Your species has changed the fate of our world, not because of power, not because of might, but because of something far rarer, the heart. Humans carry a force that even the universe fears to challenge." Elias Crane joined Leora, his expression both proud and reflective. "We didn't come here to be heroes," he said quietly. "We came because it was the right thing to do. That's what makes humans remarkable. We endure, we protect, and we never give up. Even when the odds are impossible." Leora nodded, thinking of every moment that had tested them, the creeping darkness, the shadows of fear, the choices that demanded bravery beyond instinct. "Humans are resilient," she said. "Not because we are invincible, but because we fight for each other. And that is something the universe cannot destroy." The Alethar gathered to honor their human saviors. Calith's voice resonated across the valley, carrying a message that transcended language. "You came when all hope was lost. You showed us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to rise above it. Humanity, you are extraordinary." Finn's small face appeared again on the communication link from Earth. "You did it," he whispered, awe in his voice. "Humans really can do anything. When they believe in each other." Leora smiled, warmth flooding her tired heart. "Yes, Finn, that is who we are." In the days that followed, humans and Elithar shared knowledge, culture, and friendship. The darkness had been weakened but not entirely destroyed. Yet humanity had left an indelible mark. They had shown that even in the face of cosmic despair, life could endure, thrive, and rebuild through hope, through unity, through heart. Kalith guided Leora and Elias to the edge of the planet, where a portal would take them home. "Remember," the alien whispered, "your courage has changed more than our world. It has changed the way the universe sees humans. Wherever shadows rise, they will remember this day." Elias placed a hand on Leora's shoulder. "We didn't just save a world," he said softly. "We reminded the universe why humanity matters." As the shuttle lifted, Earth's blue orb awaiting them through the void, Leora gazed back at the Elithar world, radiant and alive. She felt a quiet certainty. The legacy of courage they had left would endure, inspiring generations of humans and aliens alike. Across the cosmos, whispers traveled through civilizations long thought indifferent, stories of humans who faced the impossible and prevailed, not as conquerors, not as overlords, but as beacons of hope, compassion, and unyielding spirit. And somewhere far beyond the reach of any known star, the darkness stirred, but it recoiled, hesitant, remembering a species that refused to bow. On Earth, Finn ran into the arms of his mother, Clara. "They did it, Mom. Humans really did it." Clara hugged him tightly. "Yes, Finn, humanity is amazing. We always find a way, when we choose to help, when we choose courage." Dr. Hayes, aboard the returning shuttle, closed her eyes and reflected on everything that had transpired. The universe was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable, but humans carried something unmatched: the ability to rise above fear, to turn hope into action, and to protect life, even at the edge of oblivion. And in that moment, she knew the truth that would endure for all time. Humans were not merely inhabitants of Earth. They were guardians of hope, beacons of resilience, and a force capable of touching the farthest stars. The stars shone brighter than ever as the shuttle sped home, carrying with it a message the universe could never forget. When humans rise, even the darkness must bow, and humanity had risen.